No one noticed the janitor as he quietly mopped the stage floor. His uniform was faded, his shoes were worn, and his eyes were always lowered. But when he sat at the piano that night, even Simon Cowell would struggle to hold back tears. Before this story begins, make sure you subscribe, because stories like this remind us that miracles can come from the most unexpected places. Every morning before the sun rose over Los Angeles, Daniel Reyes pushed his cleaning cart through the silent halls of a grand theater. He was 42 years old, a Filipino immigrant, and to most people, invisible. The judges walked past him, the contestants stepped around him, and the audience never knew his name. He was just the janitor, the man who cleaned spilled coffee, swept broken dreams off the floor, and polished a stage where other people chased fame. Daniel had not always been a janitor. Back in Manila, he was known as the boy who could make a broken piano sing. His mother used to say that God had placed music in his hands before he ever learned how to speak. But life was never kind to dreamers in their neighborhood. His father died when Daniel was 16, and the piano lessons ended the same week the rent went unpaid. Music became something he carried in his heart, not something he was allowed to touch. Years later, when his mother fell ill, Daniel made the hardest decision of his life. He left the Philippines to work in America. He promised her he would send money home and one day return successful. But America did not greet him with applause. It gave him long shifts, sore hands, and a uniform that smelled of bleach. Still, every night after his shift, when the theater was empty, Daniel would sit at the old piano backstage. He played softly, afraid someone might hear. Those quiet moments were the only time he felt whole. One evening, as he played, he didn't realize someone was listening. It was a stage assistant who froze in the doorway, stunned by the sound. The next day, whispers spread. The janitor can play. Some laughed. Some didn't believe it. But one producer decided to test the rumor and told Daniel to audition for America's Got Talent. Daniel refused at first. He said the stage was not for people like him. But the producer insisted, and finally, after a sleepless night, Daniel agreed. He borrowed a suit that didn't quite fit, tied a second-hand tie, and walked onto the AGT stage with shaking hands. When the judges saw him, the atmosphere changed. Simon Cowell leaned forward, skeptical. He had seen thousands of performers, and he was not impressed easily. Simon asked Daniel what he did for a living. When Daniel said he was a janitor, a ripple of surprise moved through the audience. Simon raised an eyebrow and asked why he was there. Daniel answered simply, "Because music is my life." Simon nodded, but his expression said doubt. He asked Daniel what he would play. Daniel replied that he had written the piece himself, inspired by leaving his mother behind. Simon paused for a moment, then said, "Okay, let's hear it." Daniel sat at the piano. His hands hovered over the keys, trembling. The first note was soft, almost uncertain. Some people shifted in their seats. But then something changed. The melody grew deeper, richer, filled with longing and pain. The theater fell silent. Every note carried years of sacrifice, loneliness, and hope. Halfway through the performance, Simon Cowell's expression changed. The skepticism faded. His jaw tightened. He stopped writing notes and simply listened. The music rose like a prayer, crashing into a powerful climax that echoed through the hall. When Daniel played the final note, he lowered his head, afraid to look up. For a moment, there was silence. Then the audience exploded into applause. People stood, cheering, some wiping their eyes. The camera cut to Simon Cowell, and for the first time that night, he wasn't trying to hide it. His eyes were wet. His voice cracked when he spoke. Simon said he had heard many great pianists, but very few who told a real story. He said Daniel's performance reminded him why music matters. Then Simon stood up, and the entire theater followed. It was a standing ovation. But the biggest twist was still to come. Simon asked Daniel why he had never pursued music professionally. Daniel explained that life had not given him the choice. He spoke about his mother, his sacrifices, and how he played in secret after cleaning the stage where others performed. Simon shook his head slowly, clearly emotional. Then Simon did something no one expected. He said that talent like this should never be hidden behind a mop. He pressed the golden buzzer. Golden confetti rained down as Daniel collapsed to his knees, overwhelmed. The janitor who once cleaned the stage was now standing at the center of it, bathed in gold. Simon walked onto the stage and hugged him, whispering words only they could hear. That night, Daniel didn't go back to cleaning floors. He went back to his small apartment and called his mother. Through tears, he told her that the promise he made years ago was finally coming true. Daniel's journey didn't end there. Week after week, he returned to the AGT stage, each performance more powerful than the last. And every time, Simon Cowell watched with the same intensity, the same respect. The janitor was invisible no more. This story is not just about music. It is about faith, patience, and the courage to step forward when the world tells you to stay back. It is about the dreams we hide because we think we are not worthy. And it is proof that sometimes, the quietest person in the room has the loudest story to tell. If this story touched your heart, remember that talent has no uniform, no age, and no border. Dreams don't disappear, they wait.